Alright, hope everybody's having a good one. Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator with Cookie Pirate. Today, we're doing something totally new. We're going from Santa Rosa, California, down to Monterey. Pretty much straight down the west coast. The Cirrus SR22. It's going to be about a 38-minute flight. We're going at 15,000 feet, 124 miles. Climb aboard and let's go flying. Alright, here we are loaded in. Oh, come on. Get the mouse. There we go. Alright, we're loaded in on the ground at Santa Rosa. Let me go ahead and initialize a couple things. Battery switch is on. Enter. Exit. There we go. CDI to GPS. Let's go ahead, set the altitude. 15,000 feet is going to be our cruise. Oh, went a little high there. FLC to 110. AHR's align. Mouse down and take a look here at these. We're going to turn the nav lights and strobe lights on. Just want to grab a glance out of the cockpit. We've got plenty of room to turn out to the runway. We've got room. We're not in danger of hitting the hangar by turning out. I always just, when I'm at a new place, or even at an airport that I'm familiar with, but maybe just in a different parking spot, I like to check the surroundings just to make sure there are no obstacles I'm going to have to navigate around and try to avoid. Back into the cockpit here, we've got the battery switches. They're starting to drain a little bit because of the lights. So let's go ahead, get the engine started. So lights are on. Ignition, you know what, we did that early. I'm going to turn that back off, and here's why. We want to have this on first. Gonna go mixture full rich. It actually started idle cutoff where it should. That's nice. Full forward on the throttle. Now we're gonna pull it back and then bump it just a tiny bit. Now we'll go up and do the mags. Clear left, clear right. Start the engine, clear ahead. Clear! Alright. Oil pressure's immediately into the green. Temperature's beginning to rise. Clear that. Alternator switch is on. Now we can go ahead and turn the avionics master on. We'll get the GPS initialized. While that's doing that, I'm going to take a quick sip of water. I don't know if you can really hear it in me. I feel mildly parched, and sometimes that affects the way that I talk. The way that I sound on stream. But hopefully not too bad. Excuse me. Ooh. Alright, so we've got all of that set. Let's grab the weather real quick just to cross-check a couple things. Alright. On the ground, Santa Rosa right here. 160 at 4. 10 miles of visibility, clear skies. It's a beautiful day over here. 18 Celsius, that's about 65 Fahrenheit. 3023 on the altimeter. Let's see, this loaded up at 3024. Yeah. Maybe it just changed. Let me go up here. 2153, that is 16. Yeah, so this is not the updated weather yet. Let me double check that in the sim. You see the time on this weather. That is the current. Okay, so we were right. Alright, good. Alright, I'm going to pull the airport diagram up on my second screen. I'm not very familiar with this airport. I mean, I know of it, but I'm not very familiar. Alright, so the runways are 1432 and 220. Now the wind was saying 160, I think. Let me double check. I don't memorize. Yeah, 160 at 4. So we're actually closest to runway 14. Actually 20. But 14 is going to be right on our direction of flight down to Monterey. Strawberry Jam, welcome. So excited for Thanksgiving break. Also, PC2 stream later, yes. Mick, how are ya? My day off was okay. It was a little boring. I didn't get everything done that I wanted to. But, I got a good bit done, so I'm okay with it. How was your day? Alright, clear left and ahead, and we are good to release the parking brake and begin taxiing. So I'm not going to worry. Those guys usually move. They don't trigger collisions. So let's get taxiing out. Looks like I had a few, maybe 4.5 seconds of dropped frames. So hopefully it doesn't really continue to stutter. Looked like it did a little bit, but let me know. Oh, come on, zoom in a little more. Alright, so we've got a ways to go up ahead. Okay, now we're gonna come up here. We've got some... maybe some bad behavior. Get out of the way! Oh, come on! I steered to avoid him and he drove that same direction like playing chicken. I was the opposite of productive. Sloths got more done than I did. Alright, and we'll come up ahead and we're going to make this right turn. Oh, interesting layout. Okay. This is a little bit odd. We're going to come up here and make this turn. That dashed line is just an intermediate hold. We're good. We're clear. So we're going to come up ahead. And we could maybe take this intersection. That driver was playing Grand Theft Auto in Flight Sim. Yeah. Chimpers, how are you? 0 days without trucks on the runway. Hey, Maria. We'll see. Alright, this is runway 20 right up here. As another hold for the runway. That is a little bit of an interesting configuration. Alright, we're gonna stop here. Oh, I see. Okay, so what the difference is, this is the, I guess, official start of the runway for landing. Some runways you can actually taxi further down, like here, and you'll get a little more room for a departure. Wait, this is 20. Yeah, we're supposed to be going to 14. Alright, hold on. Okay, you know what we can do? We can actually taxi out and turn onto 14. So I just want to double check. Make sure it's clear both directions. 20 is clear. This is the... Yeah, so 14 runs up this way. Yeah, this is a little bit of a confusing layout. That's alright. That's why we just check. This airport does have a tower, so if we were talking to ATC, we could ask for what is called progressive taxi. That is a step-by-step instruction. Instead of them just telling you the route to follow, they would actually tell you turn right here, and then turn left here, etc., stuff like that. Excuse me, so that would be an option. What I'm going to go ahead and do is a quick run-up. We're going to jump out of the cockpit, set the flaps to half, check the flight controls, rudder's good, elevator's good, ailerons are good. Now back into the cockpit here. Quick run-up on the engine. I'm going to go power up to about 25%. We're looking for 1700 RPMs. Might have been a touch Yeah, that's okay there. Alright, right mag. That's a good drop. Back to both. Goes back up. Left mag. Back. That's good. Back to both. Engine instruments are all in the green. No warnings, errors, cautions other than parking brake, which is normal. So we're good there. Let's go ahead, cut the power. Alright. Monterey isn't the island, that's Catalina. Yeah, you're right. Okay. I'm going to release the parking brake. Now what we're going to do is taxi out onto 2-0. I see, we would have had to make that first left turn over there. Back here to get to 1-4, but that's fine. Yeah, and see, that's a hold for the crossing runway. This is definitely a little bit of a wonky layout. Alright, and yeah, it's actually right here, so we're going to make a left turn right here. And we're good. Alright. And let me just set up a couple things real quick. Set the parking brake. Don't even need the heading bug, so we're going to turn nav mode on, make sure heading is off. FLC is on, VNav is on. Just came in to say hello. I'll be doing PC2 later. Alright, Jimbers, have a good evening, and we'll see you soon. I suppose the landing light could go on. Don't need pitot heat right now. We'll see when we get up to altitude. Okay. Parking brake off. Full power. Good. Airspeed is already alive. Engine instruments look good. 77 knots will rotate. 70, 75, 77. Up. Good. Alright. Climbing out. 900 feet we can turn on course, but we're pretty much on course. We can bring the flaps up now and take a look at the view. Some of the hills, kind of mountains. They're kind of more gentle. And we're actually a bit fast, so we're going to go ahead and pitch up. We want to keep that speed down at about 110. We're climbing out pretty quick. 800, 900... 1000. Autopilot engaged. And it's going to be a very slight turn on course here. Let's zoom out on the map. And we're going to intercept. Ooh, it's a little hazy. Alright, landing light off. That's a little early, but it's fine. Already just 10 Celsius. And we're not even 2,000 feet above the ground. So, that's a pretty steep temperature drop. Let's grab a look at... Ooh. Look at this. Farms. Maybe some vineyards. This part of California is actually wine country. This is the city of Santa Rosa. Excuse me. And yeah. So, mid-late, yeah, it's about 3 in the afternoon over here in California. And is that the ocean? Can we already see the ocean? Yes. Wow. Alright, that's cool. You know, look back here, the terrain rises a bit more. Yeah, Brahmic. Alright, so right here in the airport. City of Santa Rosa is right here. This looks to be downtown. I know it's a little bit early, but I'm gonna... Oh, uh-oh. It's kind of cloudy slash... Oh, look at the moon. Kind of foggy out that direction, maybe. Back into the cockpit here. I'm gonna actually just go ahead and pull the power back now. Wait, 30.5 on the manifold pressure. There it is right there. We're going to pull the mixture back now until we get to 20 gallons on the fuel flow, which is our peak power. It should be 89 to 90% when we do that. Yeah, right about there. Alright, so our cruise climb is set. It's 11 Celsius, so the temperature's actually going back up a little bit. Interesting. Okay. Alright, our route today. This is going to be kind of an interesting route, and I was getting a little annoyed because I was really struggling to find a good place to fly. The weather up in Alaska was hit and miss. It was dark all over Florida and the Carolinas, which I kind of wanted to do, but not really like a night flight. So fortunately I found this, and it looks like the weather's going to be really good. So, Santa Rosa, where we took off. Over here are a few other airports. Napa. Sonoma is somewhere over here. This is all wine country. I think we're going to actually be able to see a little more of it as we climb further south. And then this is going to be a highlight of the flight. We are going directly over the city of San Francisco. We're going to get an incredible view of downtown. We're going to get an incredible view, pretty much flying right over the Golden Gate Bridge, which is going to be pretty neat. We fly almost directly over San Francisco Airport, and the whole Bay Area, San Carlos, Palo Alto a little bit off to our left, San Jose a fair ways off to our left. We'll fly over these mountains here, and this is Monterey Bay, and then we'll come right into Monterey, right down here. Pretty straightforward flight, and again should be about 38 minutes total flight time, give or take. Relatively simple. We are only at 8,800 feet. This may be a dumb question, but would you be allowed to fly that close to the bridge after 9/11 in real life? Yes, you can. So, not a dumb question. But I'll explain. Yeah, tell you what. Here is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to pull the chart. Uh-oh, what was that? Probably pitot heat. Yeah, 3 Celsius. Let's go ahead and turn that on. Okay. So this is the chart on SkyVector. With the autopilot set, we don't really have to worry about doing anything in the sim right now. So all of this is airspace. And generally the rule is you're not supposed to fly lower than 1,000 feet above anything that's yellow, which is considered densely populated, and then 500 feet over what isn't yellow, which is unpopulated or sparsely populated areas. In the real world, this is the San Francisco Class Bravo, B for Bravo airspace, all the blue, and it goes up to 10,000 feet, so we're flying over it, so we don't have to worry about any of that in the real, in the sim. We don't have to worry about it at all in the sim, actually. But in the real world, if we were doing this exact route, we'd be flying directly over the San Francisco airspace. So we'd want to talk to ATC, but we would be going over all of this, so it's not a problem. Now, back to your point about flying close to the bridge or low in these areas, you can get exceptions for, like, sightseeing and stuff like that. They probably have their own, kind of procedures in place for doing that, and so we just have to probably coordinate ahead of time with ATC and tell them our plans, and they would do their best to accommodate it. Now, there may be some restrictions on that. That's for a little plane like the one you're in, or is that for all planes? The airspace is applicable to all planes. It more so depends not so much on what you're flying, but the type of flight that you're doing. So if you're doing what is called VFR, there are some pretty serious limitations to being able to go through this airspace. And I'll pull another chart up right here. This is more detailed, it's zoomed in more, and you can see these routes. These are called VFR routes. You have to call ATC for permission to use them. Since we're going what is technically called IFR, and we're going way above it, none of this really applies to us. If we wanted to do this fly chart, that just gives us a little bit more information on where we would go like VFR. We would more likely have to follow the coastline, or depending on if we were going to some of these airports, you'd follow these dashed lines like over the city. Over the airport about 2,000 feet. Maybe more. And then once you get out down here, it's really not much of an issue. So. But that's kind of how that all would work. But since we're just going way above it, we're going to get a great view. You can go directly over things at plenty of altitude with little to no restrictions. Super interesting. Thank you for going into the explanation. I appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, happy to help. I always enjoy, teaching somebody a little bit of that stuff. Alright, here we are. We actually leveled off at 15,000 feet. And yeah, we're going to start getting some good views. Looks like a little bit of fog. But as I check the chart for weather, it's actually pretty clear at most of these airports in the Bay Area. So we should be able to get some good views. Not a guarantee, because the weather can change, especially with the fog in the Bay Area. That can actually happen pretty quickly. But we'll see. Hopefully it'll be okay. Alright. Power is set. We can lean the mixture just a little bit more. 20.6. We want to get down to about 20.0 to 19 and change like that there. -8 up here at altitude. That is plus 18 Fahrenheit. So that's pretty chilly. We're actually getting a really good headwind, about 23 knots. The wind is a quartering tailwind from 32 knots. So we have about a 20 knot... maybe not quite 20, probably about 20 if I had to guess. 20 knot crosswind from the right, so that is why we are angled 5 degrees to the right of the track that we're following. But it's relatively smooth. And how about a view? Take a look at this back here. Oh, you can hear the wind a little. I think this over here is... Actually, I'm not totally sure. Let me zoom way in. Well, we already came that far. I think this is the airport. Town of Santa Rosa. So this right off over here... yeah, a little bit further back over here is Napa. And I'm looking to see if we could get a view of it. Sonoma's back here. And if any of you know NASCAR, the Sonoma racetrack, which is actually a road track, kind of like a road circuit, is, I believe, right here, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I believe that is it. And here we're coming over the water. This is... more of the North Bay. San Pablo Bay is what this is called. So yeah, Napa's off to our right and a little bit behind us. Kind of beyond those flats. Kind of over here. That's Napa Airport. And the city of Napa, I believe, is up here. So this is Sonoma. Oh yeah, that is almost certainly the road track right there. This right here No, not San Rafael. No, that's not Concord. That's out over that way. I'm not totally sure. But this is like Richmond. This over here is Oakland. Some air base. No, that's a closed airport. This is Oakland Airport right here. Alright, here we go. Right here. This is the one of the highlights of the flight right here. So this is actually really good visibility. This right here is the famous Golden Gate Bridge, and you can see it very clearly based on the red bridge towers right there. So we're going pretty much straight over the Golden Gate Bridge, which is really neat. This right here is the city of San Francisco. That's downtown. What a beautiful view. Just a little bit hazy, but we actually get a great view of the city. I want to see if we can point out any landmarks in the area. There's a stadium somewhere over here, a little bit south of the city. And I'm looking to try to see exactly where it is. There's a bunch of piers. That is the San Francisco airport right there. I'm going to be passing pretty much directly over it. And, ooh, it's a little hazy, little foggy over here. To your left and further down should be San Francisco. It's actually not. This is San Francisco directly ahead, and the way that you can tell, that's the terminal, but also these crossing runways right here. Somewhere over here. Ooh, it is definitely getting a bit more hazy over here. Let's go back into the cockpit. Gonna switch the fuel tank before we get that indicator. We can actually turn the boost pump off now. Only about 19 minutes en route, so we're actually gonna start descending relatively soon. And it is getting hazier. Yeah, so, okay, downtown right here. There's the stadium. That's the San Francisco Giants baseball stadium right there. And I'm looking to see where the 49ers stadium. I'm not totally sure that I'm gonna... I believe it's... Oh no, it's right there. Okay. Yeah, so that's the 49ers football stadium. That's pretty neat. There's the airport right there. And yeah, look at the mountains. So we can actually already see Monterey Bay. And Monterey is going to be right back over here. So the visibility's not too bad. Looking far out, you can actually see more of the mountains. Look at all the fog out that way. That's all over, like, Stockton. Ooh, even more out this way. Stockton, Modesto, Sacramento would be up that direction there. And way in the distance, you can see the Sierra Nevadas. A great view of SFO. Look at how nice that is. It's very well modeled. Not many planes on the ground. Either that or they're just not loaded because we're so high up. I don't know. But This is SFO Airport, going 15,000 feet over it. More mountains out that way. This is all the Pacific Ocean, tons of water. Half Moon Bay is not going to be very well visible, but that's it right there. This reminds me of that scene in San Andreas where The Rock and his ex-wife are flying over SF to rescue their daughter. Yeah, that is pretty cool. It's the bay. That right there is Oakland International Airport. And there's a stadium. Not sure if that's for the baseball or football. I think they use it actually for both, if I'm not mistaken. The city of Oakland, right there. Excuse me. It's Moffett Airfield. This is San Jose Airport. So San Jose, Cupertino, where Apple headquarters, kind of all up over here. Bay Area is very densely populated, of course. Back into the cockpit. Let's see how we're looking. Alright, 16 minutes to go. Let's see if we can pull the weather for Monterey yet. Should be able to, but we may be a little bit far. We're right at the halfway point. We can. Okay. 320 at 5, 10 miles visibility, clear skies, 16 Celsius on the ground, and 30.20. So what we're going to do is go ahead and set that. And it's going to climb us just a tiny bit because it's about a 40-50 foot difference in pressure, altitude. Okay. I'm pretty well familiar with Monterey's airport. The main runway is 28 right, I believe. It might be 28 left. But I know the number's 28. Okay, yeah, 28 left is the main runway, so we're gonna go for that. So what I'm gonna do is just set up a visual approach. So the weather's totally good. Gonna load but not activate, and I'm gonna pull up the map real quick. We'll take a look. Alright. Now we may have to contend with just a little bit of terrain back here. This might be a little bit tricky. But that's actually having us fly out this way, so we're gonna break off course and fly over this way and come in. Should be okay on terrain, but generally what they're going to do is shoot the approaches to 10, which will take you over the city, and then you'll just circle. That would be what you would have to do if the weather was not very good. But we should be able to come in this way on the 28 side fine. So I'm actually going to set a course to there. Activate. Alright, we have a little bit of time before we need to start our descent. Oh, and take a look at that. That's actually beautiful. Just coming over these. These are more modest, but these mountains over here. And then this is all Monterey Bay, and Monterey is right over here. Out of view back over this way, we're coming right over, well, these are all kind of the hills, but right off to our left here. This is like Cupertino, Sunnyvale, Palo Alto. It's Moffett Field, San Jose. This right here, I believe, is the city of San Jose, downtown. Okay. And then what if we get a look over this way? Yeah, it's definitely a bit foggy up that way. And if we try to look back here, you actually can't really see city of San Francisco too well, just barely kind of poking through a little bit of that haze. It's SFO Airport. All of this is the bay. Can't even see the golden... yeah... Not really sure that we can see the Golden Gate Bridge now. I was going to try to point out the Bay Bridge, but I'm not really sure that we can even see that now. Bay Bridge goes from up San Francisco over across to Oakland. Come back here, kind of pointed in toward Monterey. We are close to our top of descent, so we're gonna... Let me just check the safe altitude. Maria! Drop me at the Apple headquarters. I need new AirPods. We'll be flying over Santa Cruz, which I'll point out on the map in a minute. Safe altitude to go down to... now we really could go all the way down to 4,000, so we're going to go ahead and set that. Oh, not quite, yeah. Alright, 4,000 set. Alright, VNAV is on, so it actually should start us downward, and we'll just control our power with... or control our speed on descent with the power. Just starting to descend now. We're going to pull the power back to about 35%. And we'll see how our speed responds once we start working downward. Should bleed off a bit. So this right here, this is Santa Cruz. And Monterey is back here. A couple other towns, Watsonville, I think, is over here. Salinas is a little bit further inland from Monterey, out over here, I believe. And the town of Marina over kind of here. Of course, the Monterey area is considerably less populated. But Pebble Beach, there's actually a pretty famous golf course there. Is pretty much right out over here on the tip of... this. I don't even know exactly what it's called. Hey Alexander, how are you? Alright, speed is trickling down, so we're looking pretty good. Pretty view out that way. And beautiful view of the Pacific coastline right out over there. Good, glad to hear it. Can you fly in a fighter jet? They have one or two that you can do. I've done it. It is a fairly difficult aircraft to fly. It's one that I'm not really proficient with. I could play around with it at some point. I want to say this might actually be the last flight that I do in this flight sim. It may not be, but I am later this week going to get my computer reset with all the drives and everything, and get 24 activated and do a fresh install, and we'll start using that. It actually runs, believe it or not, it runs better on this computer than this sim, but this one runs fine as well. But 24 just has more features, it looks better. A little more optimized. If you fly a fighter jet, I've got a mission for you. Uh-oh. Do I want to know? Yeah, but we'll definitely be doing a lot more flights, especially when I get 24 set up. We're gonna do a bunch of flights in that. So this is all Santa Cruz right down here. We're about to cross over the water. That is pretty out this way. Wow. Alright, so we can actually see this is the airport, and this is the city of Monterey. And right out here, I believe this is Pebble Beach, the golf course. Famous. Pretty sure that's it right there. I know it's on this little small peninsula that juts out. We can actually turn the pitot heat off now. It's 7 Celsius, so that's plenty warm. We really only have to have that on if it's about 4 or less. And as we descend, it's going to continue to warm up, so we can safely turn that off. A lot of the time, depending on the aircraft, some people just choose to run the pitot heat the whole time. Peace out, going to the library. Alright, have a good evening. And maybe we'll catch you later. I'll be doing PC2 a little while after I finish this flight. I don't know, I might actually do another one, but probably not, because I want to take a break before I do PC2, and if I do another flight, I wouldn't be starting until pretty late. So I think after this I'll take a break and jump on. Alright. So what we're gonna do is once we get close over here, we're gonna branch out, and then we'll just hand fly the airplane down to the runway.
Engaging autopilot.
Oh, hold on. What?
Engaging autopilot.
Oh, you know what? I accidentally bumped the autopilot button with my thumb. I was using the joystick. Jay Nichols, what's going on? Welcome. if we zoom in, we actually get, it's a little far out, so it hasn't fully rendered. But this right here is the airport. And, yep, so Pebble Beach right over there. Carmel by the Sea, I think, is the town. Kind of out over this way. I think this is actually a town called Pebble Beach, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, downtown Monterey. Right all out over here. They have a really famous aquarium, and they also do a lot of deep sea research out of Monterey. And one of the cool things, if you're knowledgeable about the ocean, interested in it, they actually have a deep sea exhibit at the Monterey Bay Aquarium, which is supposedly really cool. A lot of creatures from the ocean twilight zone, which is below about 500 to 600 feet, and then the midnight zone, which is as deep as, well, I think it starts at about 3,000 feet deep, going down basically to the bottom of the seafloor. And I believe it's the only aquarium in the US, and one of only a couple in the world, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that. But that actually have, like, deep sea exhibits. I could just imagine how difficult it is to set something up like that. Alright, here we are level at 4,000 feet. See, the airport is off over that way. We can actually... Yeah, we can hand fly. I'm gonna trim the airplane down just a little bit. Especially if they are live, yeah. That's probably a very difficult environment. You probably have to recreate the water pressure, and then I'm curious how they would handle the animals with... I mean, the Twilight Zone has light, but it is pretty dark. So, I don't know, the animals probably would be okay with, like, a low-light area set up in the aquarium. But for the Midnight Zone creatures that live in 100% darkness, I don't know what they would do and how they would react to that. But yeah, of course they have the animals alive. So I'm just really curious on how they manage to do that, how they handle all of that. Alright, we need to get slowed down a little bit. So we actually have idle power. We need to get below 150 before we can go half flaps. Put a bunch of free weights on the surface of the water to add pressure. Maybe. I don't know how that would work. They might just have to... I'm not sure what kind of like pressure systems they would have to use for that stuff. Alright, what we need to be careful about when we're coming in is, gonna be this out here. Tell you what, we can actually add a little bit of power. We're slow enough we can go half flaps. We'll turn final in a moment. I'm going to add the power back to about 40 to 50%. Let's bump it up about there. And we just want to fly level here. No way it could be live. Oh no, they're live animals for sure. I just don't know how they do it. Alright. Now we need to start kind of getting lower. Just being a little bit careful of the terrain here. Since we're VFR, with good weather, we should be able to do this no problem. We just want to be about 500 feet above the terrain. We're over 1,000. Once that starts turning yellow, we'll know we're 1,000 or less. Alright, it's telling us to go ahead and turn final here. We're still a little bit high, so I want to come out. Let's go ahead and start a turn. Drop me off, I'll go take a look and see. Yeah, right? Alright, below 110 we can go full flaps, but we need to be... Oops. We need to be careful in this configuration. We don't want to get too slow, especially in the turn. We've got plenty of speed, so we're okay. We're actually going a little bit through final. We don't want to turn any steeper than that. So just a small correction coming back over this way. Alright, well, we've got the runway. Add a little bit of power back in. We want to continue descending and maintain about that 80 to 85 knots. Yeah, we're pretty good right now. Definitely a little low over the terrain, but we're on the right approach path.
500.
This is a little bit of a tricky approach to fly, but it's not anything super difficult. Got a bit of wind. We're a little low. So we're going to pull up and add a little bit of power and just kind of keep that speed. You see the Pappy on the right side of the runway. There's two white lights, and there's two red lights that are difficult to see to the left of it. But that's telling us we're on the right path. And also, if you look at the purple diamond kind of right here,
500.
that's telling us that we're on a pretty good approach path. So we're just going to continue flying, trying to keep those two white lights, or to keep that purple
500.
diamond right in the middle. And that annunciator keeps going off because that's just telling us that we're 500 feet over the terrain. And the terrain is also going down a little bit with us. So our altitude is varying just a little bit. I'll pull the power back a little. We're flying a pretty decent approach. Little bit of crosswind. It's not bad. Alright, 3 white, just a tad high, so let's bring that down a little. 2 white, 2 red is good, yes. If you have 1 and 3, it's not a big deal, you can make corrections. But if you have all 4 white, you're too high, and if you're all 4 red, you're too low, and that can be dangerous. Alright, here we go. We're going to take the power out. We're a tad bit fast. Coming in over the runway. Pull the power. Just going to bleed a little bit of the speed off. We're floating a bit. We're ballooning. Alright, there we go. Now what we did, we touched down, we were a little bit fast. So we actually kind of bounced back up into the air a little bit. And then that second time we just kind of floated slowly down. So we're good. Let's go flaps up. Well, we find a parking place. Looks like most of the small airplanes park up over here, so tell you what. We make that turn? Yeah, there we go. Looks like the parking crew's right over there. Second time's the charm, yeah. Not a great landing because we were carrying a little bit too much speed. But it wasn't terrible. And we've got a parking team right up over here, so what we'll actually do... Excuse me, hiccup. Now the question is, where do we turn to get off of this? Oh, it's up ahead. Okay. What? There's a light right in the middle of the taxiway. This is weird. It should be having us come right up around over this way. This is an odd... I'm not using custom scenery for this airport. They actually have some really good custom scenery for Monterey. I just don't have it installed right now. And the parking crew is right back over here. This is a movement area boundary. So I'm not really sure why they're parking planes over here. Where's the... What in the world? This is wonky. See, the lights get misplaced a lot in the sim. Yeah, they do. The new one's a bit better about that, but... Wait, are you gonna marshal me in or what? You're just sitting there. Alright. Well, I guess we're parking ourselves. They're not. Or is that the guide up there? Alright, whatever. We're just gonna go here. Alright, set the parking brake. Yeah, they can push the plane or tow it to wherever. Definitely a little wonky there, but whatever. Alright, so let's go ahead and get shut down. So we're going to... Ooh, we needed to do those, so... Chaos parking lot. Yeah, right. Alright, so let's turn the avionics and the alternator switches off. We're gonna go idle cut off on the mixture. 41 minutes, so that ended up taking just a tiny bit longer than we'd expected, but that's fine. Engine is stopped. Clear those enunciators. We can turn the lights off now. We'll turn the magnetos off. And battery switches. The plane is shut down. So we're definitely parked in a little bit of a wonky position. This is unusual. At the tug, they had a marshaller right there. They have another one back there. I wonder if that was the intended parking spot, but I don't know. And then you've got the wonky vehicles. Just another day in Flight Sim, folks. Alright, well, welcome to beautiful Monterey, California. Haven't flown the Cirrus. The SR22 is a fantastic plane. It's one of my favorites. It's easy to fly, relatively. It's got great avionics. Very powerful, great cruise speed, but it is slow for takeoff and landing, which is really good. It gives you that maneuverability. It's not as forgiving as like a 172, but it's a great plane all around. Definitely my favorite prop plane in the game. Beautiful view. So, alright, folks, that's going to do it for this one. Hope you enjoyed the flight. We'll be probably doing another flight. Oh, probably not tomorrow. It might be, maybe Thursday. We'll see. We'll definitely be doing some more soon. But that's going to do it for this. Hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. And hopefully we'll see you all in a little while for some Planet Coaster 2. Otherwise, you all take care. Stay safe. We'll see ya.